There were stories that an ancient Egyptian warning had been found inside the tomb. Our sensations and astonishment are difficult to describe. English archaeologist Howard Carter's spectacular discovery in 1922 of the almost intact tomb of the boy pharaoh Tutankhamun in the Valley of the Kings inspired an interest in ancient Egypt which still endures into the 21st century. Indeed, the fabulous gold mask of Tutankhamun has become the popular image of Egyptian civilization. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb created a worldwide press sensation, and stories spread about a curse on anyone who dared to break into the pharaoh's tomb. The curse apparently claimed many victims connected with the discovery, many of whom suffered death by violence or in odd circumstances. Theories to explain the reality of the curse include poisonous gases accumulating inside the tomb, and even that the ancient Egyptians used atomic radiation to protect their holy places. Tutankhamun was born in 1341 BC, the son of 18th dynasty pharaoh Akhenaten, and ascended the throne probably in 1332-3 BC at the age of 8 or 9 on the death of his father. Tutankhamun, living image of Amun, ruled from his capital at Memphis to the south of modern Cairo and married his half-sister Ankh-Esenpaten. They had 2 children, but both were stillborn. As pharaoh, Tutankhamun's father Akhenaten had broken with religious tradition, sanctioning the worship of only one god, Aten, and rejecting all other gods. Akhenaten, known as the heretic king, had also moved the Egyptian capital from the traditional Thebes, where modern Luxor now stands, to a new city in mid-Egypt named after himself and known today as El Amarna. During his reign of about 9 years, Tutankhamun restored Egypt's traditional gods and their temples, including Amun, and brought the worship of Aten to an end. He also re-established Thebes as the religious capital of Egypt. When he was around 17 or 18 years old, Tutankhamun died unexpectedly, probably as a result of malaria and an infected broken leg after a fall from his chariot. A recent theory regarding the king's death, suggested by Houghton Ashrifian, a surgeon at Imperial College London, is that he suffered from a form of temporal lobe epilepsy and that his broken leg was caused by a seizure which led to the fall. After his death around 1323 BC, Tutankhamun was buried in a relatively small tomb in the Valley of the Kings. After the tomb was sealed for the last time, debris from the construction of other tombs accumulated in front of it. And almost 2 centuries later, workmen constructing the tomb of Ramesses VI, who reigned from 1145 to 1137 BC, built their huts over its entrance, thus concealing it from view, and inadvertently protecting it from grave robbers for more than 3,000 years, until the arrival of English archaeologist Howard Carter in the early 20th century. The discovery of the tomb. Between 1915 and 1922, Carter undertook a series of excavations in the Valley of the Kings, ancient Egypt's royal burial ground, financed by Lord Carnarvon. Carter had been determined to find the tomb of a pharaoh named Tutankhamun since learning about a cache of funeral goods recovered in a 1907 excavation sponsored by American lawyer Theodore M. Davis. On the 5th of November 1922, Carter and his team discovered a doorway sealed with a royal necropolis seal, showing the jackal-headed god Anubis, symbolizing a king over 9 enemies. Carter knew he was on the verge of discovering a magnificent, untouched tomb. He returned home, sending a cable to Lord Carnarvon in England, which must have made his heart jump. At last, have made wonderful discovery in a valley, a magnificent tomb with seals intact, recovered same for your arrival. Congratulations. On November the 26th, Carter discovered a second seal doorway, almost the same as the first, with similar seal impressions. Unable to restrain himself any further, Carter made a hole in the top of the doorway and, using a candle, looked inside. He describes in his excavation diary what he saw. It was some time before one could see. The hot air escaping caused the candle to flicker, but as soon as one's eyes became accustomed to the glimmer of light, the interior of the chamber gradually loomed before one, with its strange and wonderful medley of extraordinary and beautiful objects heaped upon one another. With the light of an electric torch as well as an additional candle, we looked in. Our sensations and astonishment are difficult to describe, as the better light revealed to us the marvelous collection of treasures. 2 strange ebony black effigies of a king, gold-sandaled, bearing staff and mace, loomed out from the cloak of darkness. Gilded couches in strange forms, lion-headed, heather-headed, and beast infernal, exquisitely painted, inlaid and ornamental caskets, flowers, alabaster vases, strange black shrines with a gilded monster snake appearing from within, finely carved chairs, a golden inlaid throne, stools of all shapes and design of both common and rare materials, and, lastly, a confusion of overturned parts of chariots glinting with gold, peering from amongst which was a mannequin. A huge treasure of more than 5,000 items were eventually discovered in Tutankhamun's tomb, and when they had been photographed and recorded, most items were shipped to Cairo, where they're now held in the Museum of Egyptian Antiquities. Roughly 700 artifacts were discovered in the antechamber, which seemed to contain the objects used by the pharaoh in his everyday life, and had been deposited in this chamber to follow him into the afterlife. The Curse of Tutankhamun. Carter's diary for March 20, 1923, notes that he left for Cairo due to the illness of Lord Carnarvon, who had contracted blood poisoning thought to have been caused by an infected mosquito bite on the cheek. The next day, Carter describes Carnarvon as very ill with an acute attack of blood poisoning, and on the 26th writes that he'd had developed pneumonia. Carnarvon died early in the morning of April 5th in the Continental Savoy Hotel in Cairo, less than 2 months after the official opening of the burial chamber of Tutankhamun. After the excavations of Tutankhamun's tomb came to an end in 1932, Howard Carter returned to London, retiring from archaeology and undertaking part-time work as an agent for museums and private collectors, while at the same time working on the publication of his findings from the Valley of the Kings. But on the 2nd of March 1939, he died of lymphoma, a type of cancer, in Kensington, London at the age of 64, before he was able to fully publish his discoveries. The relatively early deaths of Lord Carnarvon and Howard Carter, as well as others connected with the excavation of Tutankhamun's tomb, has led to stories of some kind of Pharaoh's curse. Shortly after the tomb was opened in 1923, a British novelist with an interest in the mystical, Marie Corelli, pseudonym of Mary Mackay, issued a dramatic warning that was published in the New York World, in which she said that the most dire punishment follows any rash intruder into a sealed tomb. There were stories that an ancient Egyptian warning had been found inside the tomb, and when Lord Carnarvon died 6 weeks after the tomb had been opened, Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes, and by this time a convinced spiritualist, suggested his death had been caused by elementals or curses concocted by ancient Egyptian priests to guard the tomb of the king Tutankhamun, but no such curse had ever been found inside the tomb. Theories for the curse. A number of theories have been put forward concerning the curse of Tutankhamun, including the ancient Egyptians' use of poisons or toxins in the protection of the tomb of the boy king Pharaoh. In recent years, a scientific mummy's curse theory has been offered where exposure to ancient, toxic pathogens from the sealed tomb may have affected many of the visitors to the site, including Lord Carnarvon, Jennifer Wegner, an Egyptologist at the University of Pennsylvania Museum, including Lord Carnarvon. Jennifer Wegner, an Egyptologist at the University of Pennsylvania Museum in Philadelphia, said, "When you think of Egyptian tombs, you have not only dead bodies, but foodstuffs, meats, vegetables and fruits. It certainly may have attracted insects, molds such as bacteria, and those kind of things. The raw material would have been there thousands of years ago. Recent laboratory studies have shown that some ancient mummies do indeed carry potentially dangerous species of mold. These molds can cause allergic reactions ranging from congestion to bleeding in the lungs, which can be particularly harmful for people with weakened immune systems. In 1949, an atomic scientist called Louis Bulginari suggested that contamination through atomic radiation could explain the curse. He commented on the subject at the time, saying that it is definitely possible that the ancient Egyptians used atomic radiation to protect their holy places. The floors of the tombs could have been covered with uranium, or the graves could have been finished with radioactive rock. Rock containing both gold and uranium was mined in Egypt. Such radiation could kill a man today. This theory may not be as far-fetched as it sounds. In 1999, James Bigew of Laurentian University in Sudbury, Ontario, and researchers with the Atomic Energy Authority of Egypt in Cairo examined 7 ancient Egyptian monuments, including tombs in the Valley of the Kings. 3 were found to have potentially hazardous radon concentrations. The highest level was in the Samkat Pyramid at Saqqara, south of Cairo. Radon is produced by the decay of uranium in the ground and in rocks used to build the monuments. Bearing such evidence in mind, it's surely possible that high levels of radon inside Tutankhamun's tomb was responsible for causing the Pharaoh's curse.
If you liked this video and you want to see more amazing content, go ahead and check out the next video on our channel.